Okay, so we've got another Solomon Kane stories. This one is the shortest one out of the lot. It's Death's Black Riders. And again, if you don't want no spoilers, or there won't be many spoilers in this one particularly, then you can skip ahead to my thoughts about how it's going to relate to the board game itself. Obviously, the board game coming in very, very shortly, which is exciting times. So I'm going to keep going on with these narrations as we get closer to receiving the game. So with Solomon Kane's Death's Black Riders, it's literally a page long in terms of a short story, but in the game it's a 2-act game. So I'll talk about that after I've done the narration. Death's Black Riders. The hangman asked of the carrion crow, but the raven made reply. Black ride the men who ride with death beneath the midnight sky, and black each steed and grey each skull, and strange each deathly eye. They have given their breath to grey old death, and yet they cannot die. Solomon Kane reined his steed to a halt. No sound broke the death-like stillness of the dark forest which reared starkly about him, yet he sensed that something was coming down the shadowy trail. It was a strange and ghastly place. The huge trees shouldered each other like taciturn giants, and their intertwining branches shut out the light, so that the white moonlight turned grey as it filtered through, and the trail, which meandered among the trees, seemed like a dim road through ghostland. And down this trail, as Solomon Kane halted and drew his pistol, a horseman came flying, a great black horse, incredibly gigantic in the grey light, and on his back a giant of a rider, crouched close over the bow, a shapeless hat drawn low, a great black cloak flying from his shoulders. Solomon Kane sought to rein aside to let this wild rider go past, but the trail was so narrow and the trees grew so thickly on either side that he saw it was impossible unless the horseman stopped and gave him time to find an open space. And this the stranger seemed to have no intention of doing. They swept on, horse and rider, in a single formless black object, like some fabulous monster. Now they were only a few strides from the puzzled Kane, and he caught the glint of 2 burning eyes, shadowed by the hat drawn low, and the cape held high about the rider's face. Then, as he saw the gleam of a sword, he fired point blank into that face. Then a blast of icy air engulfed him like a surge of a cold river. Horse and man went down together, and the black horse and its rider swept over them. Kane scrambled up, unhurt but wrathful, and examined his snorting, quivering steed, which had risen and stood with dilated nostrils. The horse, too, was unharmed. Kane could not understand it. So that's effectively the story. As I said, it's a very short story. So my thoughts about Death's Black Rider in terms of the game next. Okay, so here I've got the picture of Solomon Kane standing, but in the actual story, and I imagine in the game, he'll be mounted. So you do get mounted Solomon Kane, I believe, in the box as a miniature, and you get 4 Death's Black Riders, or 3 Death's Black Riders, I can't remember how many. So this story is really just talking about the fact that it's the encounter with this Black Rider. And something supernatural, something evil about this rider with glowing eyes and just going past Solomon Kane impossibly. And he really is dumbstruck by this event. Now, if we read the Kickstarter page, it includes many miniatures. It's a 2-act story as well. So it's not just a 1-act story as well. So it's quite a big story. And it's about the fact that Solomon Kane then goes to the local village and finds out that there is a curse upon that village. And then he enlists the help of Greta, I think she's called, which I presume is the huntress, who's trying to find out what's going on in this layer. And I believe, because you've got a blacksmith that's linked to the village, and perhaps that's someone you speak to, so there might be a conversation scene in there. There's the bear, So there's a bear. So what? And this is a complete guess, by the way. What I'm imagining it is in Act 1, you're in a village, you're discussing, you maybe have that encounter with the Black Rider, maybe. But then you're in the village, discussing with the village folk what these Black Riders, who these Black Riders are, and how they've cursed the village. Then in the second act, you go off to find the lair and confront and defeat these Black Riders. And it's probably during that time that you may encounter the bear on your journey, and then or maybe even encounter the huntress while she's trying to hunt the bear. Or it could be a number of things, which is quite exciting, because this seems to me, because this is all I can find about Death's Black Riders, is that Mythic, this is one of those stories that Mythic has basically made up. So they've made up the story, the narrative, which I cannot wait to play. So to be honest, this is one of my most anticipated games to play for Solomon Kane, is Death's Black Riders, because of how much I don't know about the story itself. And it's quite intriguing. Who are these Death's Black Riders? How are they tied to this village? Who is Greta? And what were all these different story leads that the game will talk about? So an exciting one to wait for. As I said, a very, very short story, so not a long video at all, this. But again, something I'm really looking forward to. And 2 acts, so it's not a short, probably looking at 20 chapters for this one short story. But obviously it's been expanded. So until next time.